What's going on, guys? What's going on? What's going on? Hope all is well, love and light. It's a little loud right now. Car passing by with music. I hope they keep it moving. Come on, y'all. Come on, move it on, move it along, move it along, move it along. All right, I'm gonna wait for y'all to jump on in the live. Normally, I do a countdown and send out. Usually I send out, a message to all my viewers, letting them know that I'm going live. He wants to know what the price for the whole area. The lady said it would be cheaper if she got it all. Yeah, my bad. Somebody's texting me. So yeah, guys, I got a few things that I want to discuss. Part three of this whole rental car situation. oh, oh man. So let me tell you guys what happened. And this happened maybe around what? It's almost 8 o'clock. This shit happened around 5 o'clock. So I was waiting on the rental car people to call me back to get back to me on, the quote. I already knew what I was gonna tell them. You know what I mean? I just wanted to see what they was gonna say. So I said, you know what? I'm not gonna keep playing cat and mouse with these people. So when he reached out to me and said that he's got the price of the parts, I basically told the guy, I said, listen, I went to my lawyer, just to see what my rights are, only because I don't have the money to pay for that. You know what I mean? Um, I said, my lawyer told me that the contract that you guys gave me was an illegal contract, that you were supposed to provide full coverage, and you guys also are supposed to do an insurance claim, and the insurance company is going to pay for the damages. I said, and if it's a problem, then we'll take it to Ahmet. Now, A is AMET for you guys who don't know. It's basically like the traffic police. So if you ever in that situation, just find out where Ahmet is in wherever you at in Dominican Republic, because they have there's an Ahmet office in every city in Dominican Republic. So no sooner than I text him that, guys, the owner of the rental car company came banging on my door like he was the fucking police, and I'm just like, bruh, I had to really compose myself, guys, because we from the States. We don't play that shit. Like, you don't come to somebody's house and start banging on their door because you asking for trouble. You know what I'm saying? You now, if the tape if it was the other way around, I'd have came out of my house and opened up a can of whoop ass on his ass. But I had to compose myself because I'm an expat, American, gringo, whatever you want to call me, living in somebody else's country. You know what I mean? So I had to really compose myself. But at the same time, I'm not coming outside. I didn't come outside of my apartment because, first of all, what are we going to discuss when there's a language barrier? Yeah, the guy that I rented the car from, he does speak English, but you're not the owner. You know what I'm saying? So I kindly told the guy that spoke English, I said, listen, I'm not running away. Y'all know where I'm at. I got the other rental car. But at the same time, I'm not gonna have a conversation with your owner and he's yelling. He's yelling. You know what I'm saying? He's yelling, so I didn't want to have a conversation with him. So at that point, I got on my phone and I called my lawyer, and I'm explaining to the lawyer the situation. And it just so happened that the lawyer knew the insurance guy. So I came out of the apartment at that point. He said, well, let me speak to him. So I let my lawyer speak to the rental car guy. So they going back and forth. I guess he's telling him, like, y'all know y'all wrong. So my lawyer was like, look, leave his premises because y'all ain't got no right to be here. I didn't invite you here. You banging on my door like you Hawaii 5 fucking oh. Excuse my French, but y'all, the way this man was banging on my door was just like crazy. So and even after I spoke to my lawyer, I'm like, I told him, I said, Fernando, they still won't leave. They sitting here on my porch. You know what I'm saying? So basically, my lawyer told me, he said, listen, you get to my office 9 o'clock in the morning, and we're gonna sit down and we're gonna discuss this. So it ain't over yet, He got upset, I guess, because he thought he was gonna get a whole bunch of money out of me, And listen, I'm not one of those people. If I messed up or did wrong, I'm willing to take full responsibility. But as I told the rental car guy, I said, charge me as if you were charging a Dominican. Dominican Diaries, what's going on, bro? Charge me like as if you was charging a Dominican. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I ask. Be fair. Be fair. I'm willing to cover the deductible, but I know damn well a deductible is not no 7,000 American USD. You know what I'm saying? I know that. We don't even pay that in the States. You know what I'm saying? We don't pay those kind of deductibles in the States. So yeah, he got livid. He came to my crib banging on my door like, and I really had to compose myself because I was really about to come out here and get myself in trouble, to say the least. You know what I'm saying? So I had to really like calm myself down because now you're in my comfort zone coming with the drama. You know what I mean? So yeah, so now, I gotta wait till tomorrow to figure out what's going on with this whole car situation. You know what I mean? And as I said, guys, I'm not looking to skip out or not paying. If I gotta cover the deductible, okay, I'm fine with that. But don't try to pull an okey doke on me. That's all I'm saying. But I was talking to my landlord, and she was like I said, that's an illegal contract. They trying to threaten me, telling me if they get their lawyer involved, I'm gonna end up paying more money, bro. All you got is my ID, a picture of my ID. What could you possibly do with that? Like really, what could you possibly do with my ID? You don't got my passport, so if I want to leave out of here tomorrow, you'll be shit out of luck. You know what I'm saying? But as I said, I'm not like that. I'm willing to take responsibility, but at the same time, be fair, be honest. You know what I'm saying? That's all I ask. So yeah, guys, that's that. That's the situation with that. I'm like, yo, I'm here on vacation. I'm not on vacation for drama. I left the United States for that shit. To leave that behind. All this stress and anxieties in the States, and I'm coming here, going through some bullshit with some of the locals here. But that's neither here nor there, man. That's neither here nor there. So yeah, that's the situation on that. I really want to get on here, not just to talk about that, but talk about some other things as well. So, as y'all know, I don't know if y'all know or not, but the U.S. dollar has dropped here in Dominican Republic. Like when I came in, it was $61, 61 pesos on the dollar. Now it has dropped to $58 Dominican pesos per U.S. dollar. So we're losing money out here. Let's thank our government. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not a I don't even get involved in politics, but I'm just saying, like, thanks to the United States for that, because now we're losing money out here. Yeah, it dropped from 61 Dominican pesos to 58 pesos. Yeah. But on the other hand, I made some other investments out here, guys, and I wanted to kind of talk about that. Um, in Puerto Plata, as I've always said, guys, prices have gotten really, really expensive, and good deals are becoming far in between to find. You know what I'm saying? Let me just read this comment before I go any further. And for those of you guys that are in here, Nev on the daily, what's going on? For those of you guys that are in here just entering the live, be sure to hit the like, share, and subscribe. So yeah, as I was saying about land, it's becoming far in between to find. So I found some land, some really, really desirable land. Like if you one of those people that like country living, like I'm one of those guys. I could see myself, living countryside, mountain view, you know what I mean? Without all the stipulations of playing loud music, not being able to have cows, and it's not that I desire to have cows on my property, but I feel like if you're investing in a country, you should have the right to kind of do whatever you want to do with your property, especially if you're spending your hard-earned money. And this is one of the reasons why I stay far away from commute like cul-de-sacs and communities that have HOA fees. Like I can maintenance my own land and property or whatever. And if I don't feel like doing it, I can hire somebody to do it. I don't feel a need to have to pay $300 to $200 because that's what a lot of these communities be charging. And if you don't read your contract, you got to make sure that if they are charging HOA fees, you got to make sure that they're not going up over time. You see what I'm saying? So with that being said, my builder actually, he's friends with another local Dominican here. Their family owns a lot of land. I haven't posted it up on the channel yet, but I have sent it to some of my viewers who are really motivated and looking. Okay, um, we're talking about a little over 11,000 square meters of land, guys. And the starting price for this land, are you guys ready? The starting price is $30 per square meter, overlooking some beautiful mountains. Now, what I will say is that, the lot, I'm going to have to clean the lot. I'm going to have to cut down trees and all that shit. But, when you think about it, for that price, it's worth it. You know what I'm saying? It's worth it. And when you guys are looking at properties and stuff, try to overlook certain things. You got to think about it like this. Before, for those of you who are thinking about investing in like communities and so on, before that community became a community, there was trees and everything else there. You know what I mean? They had to chop down stuff and make roads in order for them to make that community. You know what I mean? So I'm just telling you guys, like, don't overlook certain lands when you're looking at lands. I mean, and to clean out my lot, I already got the math on that. It's probably going to cost me about 400, maybe like close to $500 to clean it out completely, and that's inexpensive. I mean, let's think about it. If we had to do that in the United States, you know how much money it would cost to clean out one today, and that's what I ended up getting, guys. I got 650 square meters up in El Coupe. It's called Antes de Coupe or something like that. Um, like I said, it's 15 minutes from the center city, quiet location. On the block that I got the land, I got a lawyer that bought some land up there. I got an English professor that bought some land up there. I done bought 650 square meters. So when you got people buying into a community, most people say, well, damn, the road is not done or whatever. When you got people that's buying into that community, everybody usually chips in and get things done. You see what I'm saying? So this is why I say, guys, if you are looking to invest in a community and you see other people that bought into that community, okay, and the roads are not done, it's for the community to come together to do it, and it's cost effective for everybody, for everybody. And I tell people land is land no matter where you buy it. You know what I mean? Land is land no matter where you buy it. At $30 per square meter. And honestly, I didn't come to Dominican Republic on vacation with the intent on buying land. I didn't. It kind of just fell in my hands, and the price was right. And I made a move today. I actually made a move today. So it came out to 19,500 USD. I gave them a little over half, and then I got 6 months to pay the rest off. And then at that point, I'll get my title, my dislende, and all of that stuff. So yeah, I'm excited because I don't think I mentioned to you guys. I think I did mention it in the live that I was selling my home. In all actuality, the home is sold. I sold the home, guys. I sold it. I actually had two buyers, and when people like, well, why did you sell the house? Why did you sell it? Why did you sell it? Well, I had to think realistically, like, if I'm gonna be living here full time, right? I gotta I got to make sure that I got enough income coming in to sustain myself. I'm not rich. I've never proclaimed to be rich. When I do move here, I will be on a fixed income. So, with that being said, um, I figure, okay, you know what? The money that I got from my home, I'm gonna take that and start a new project. You know what I mean? Build a couple apartments. You know what I mean? And that's an investment. And then once those apartments are built, now the good thing about it is, I done already bought the land. I didn't have to use. Well, the money ain't in the bank yet. Everything is in limbo right now. But I didn't use any of the money that I got from the house, like I said, in which I haven't gotten that money yet. I used my own money to buy that land. So once I get the money for my house, then I'll go ahead and do a couple of apartments. You know what I mean? I plan on doing like a project, maybe 4 to 6 apartments, depending on how much it's going to cost me. And then at that point, I'll sell five, keep one for myself, and then I'll go ahead and build my dream home. You know what I mean? Something that I really, really want for myself. And not just that, the land that I purchased is it's closer than where my house is. So I bought something closer into the city. Not to say that my house was, far, far. You know what I mean? But yeah. So I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I'm happy about my my new business venture. You know what I mean? And I just tell you guys, if you're looking for land, yeah, you shop around, but just know from somebody that's been doing this for quite some time, just know that $30 per square meter, you're not gonna find that. And like I said, how this kind of fell into my lap is because my builder my builder's friend's family, and their grandfather died, and he left all this land. I mean, we're talking, guys, when I tell you it's so much land up there, oh my God, it's so much land. So they're only selling 650 square meters. Um, that's the minimum. So I got 650. And do I plan on building on the whole 650? No, I may just keep, build on 350 and keep the other three, and then sell it later on in the future and capitalize on that. Guys, hit the like button. Thank you. Thanks, Nev. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Jay, what's good? Evil Deer, what's going on, bro? Evil Doer, what's good? What's good? No, so for those of you guys just chiming in, I was just telling you guys, like, I made another business venture and excited about it, So now it's like when I go back home, it's time for me to really grind. Um, Only because I want to start this project as soon as I can, as soon as I can. So I probably won't close on the house until like August. So that kind of gives me some time to get my money up, to come up with some architectural plans. You know what I mean? For because I plan on, like I said, guys, I plan on doing apartments. And for those of you guys who are looking to make an investment in Dominican Republic, if I would have done it all over again, I would have took my money and did apartments opposed to just building a house. Only because I plan on living here full time. You see what I'm saying? So if I'm living here full time, like I said, guys, I need more multiple streams of income coming in. So I figured if I do the 6 apartments, right? If I do the 6 apartments, I'll sell five, keep one for myself. And I'm sitting once all of those apartments are done, because I plan on ultimately I like to do 2 bedroom, 2 baths. But if I can only settle for 1 bedroom, then I'll settle for 1 bedroom, 1 bath. But we'll see how it goes and see, how much everything is gonna cost me. Then at that point, I'll make that determination whether or not, I'll go with a 2 bedrooms or 1 bedrooms, if that makes sense. Yeah. So tomorrow I'm gonna post the land up on the page, up on the channel. As I said, a few of my bros got first dibs, and I got some motivated buyers. I'm not the only one. I got a few of you guys from the channel that are interested in purchasing up there, only because the price is great. And it's just a great location, especially if you're one of those people that like mountain views. It's a lot of trees and stuff, and that's another thing, guys. The land up there, the owner that owns that property up there, we're talking about, because I don't walk through it. The land is so fertile, bro. You can grow cacao. He's got cacao up there. For those of you guys who don't know what cacao is, it's the fruit that produces chocolate. Well, it's actually the seeds of that fruit that produces chocolate. You can grow cacao up there. You can grow pomegranate up there. They got cherry trees up there. They've got a soursop, guanabana. They have chinola, coconut trees, mango trees. I mean, it is so many fruit trees up there, and the land is good for building. Because I took my builder with me. I took my builder. Hold on for a minute, guys. I'm gonna read some of these comments. Hello, I'm in Thailand. Clint Johnson, what's going on, bro? Um, Hope you enjoying yourself in Thailand, man. I've been there. Definitely got to go back. It was an experience to say the least. Hey Jay, good idea would be to leverage your US dollar to buy farmland and then hire people to farm because that money is consistent. It definitely is consistent. I mean, who's to say it? I may end up buying more than the 650, only because I said, guys, it's a great price. You can't go wrong. But yeah, the land is definitely fertile to grow crops if that's what you're looking to do. You know what I mean? But tomorrow, once you buy the land, the next thing is to have a, they call it a grimatory. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it right. Grimatory. The grimatory, you have them come out, and basically, what they do is they mark off your land, measure it. They're going to measure it. I'm going to tell them where I want my plot, and which is going to be in the beginning of the road. Like I want first. I got first dibs. So it's going to be in the beginning of the beginning of the street. They're going to come and measure that out. The Grimatory is going to take care of all of my paperwork, des lende, titles, all of that. And my builder, he taught me some new things, and it's good to have somebody to teach you these kind of things so that if you decide to make investments, you know what to do. You know what to do the next time you make another investment. But what he suggested, he said before, even though this is his friend's family, he took it a further step in which I could appreciate that. He took it a further step and went down to the office. I forget what they call the office is, but basically you go there to check and see if the land is in that person's name who's selling it to you. So when we went down there, we looked at the title. The owner, the father died and left all the land to his kids. So all their names were on the property. So it just gives you a peace of mind. So if you ever in that kind of situation where you're looking to buy land and you're unsure, even if you are sure or unsure, I would suggest you go down and just check for yourselves. It costs you nothing, and it saves you a peace of mind. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, definitely saves you a peace of mind. So, yeah, so that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. Going to the land, picking out my lot, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm kind of tapped out of money, but I'm gonna see if I can squeeze out, the money to have the lot cleaned. You know what I mean? My builder told me that to clean out my lot, he said it's usually, and just so if you guys are looking to clean your lots out, or you got a lot with a whole bunch of trees and bushes and shit like that, I'm telling you what the prices are so you know what to look for. So he told me to clean my lot out. I gotta rent this machine. He said you rent it for 10 hours. He said 10 hours you rent it for 250, 2,500 pesos for 10 hours. When I did the math, it came out to 431, which ain't bad. It's not bad. So it's gonna cost me that much to clear out my whole lot. But once I clear out the whole lot, I'll be able to see the mountains. You see what I'm saying? Because all the land has got trees, and there's certain trees I'm going to keep on the lot. You know what I mean? Especially like fruit trees and stuff like that. Oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah. Let me read this comment by Pan American. How is it to build anti-systematic property? I wouldn't know. I think Pan Americanism. You asked me that question before. Um, I think you asked me that before. I'm not really sure. I'm not a builder. I'm not a builder. I just list properties and sell them. I'm not. That's something that my builder could ask you. Could tell you. Yeah, he could answer that for you. And unfortunately, he's not here right now. But yeah, and also when you are buying land, I suggest you have soil samples, or if you can have your builder go with you before you make that purchase, just to test out the soil to make sure it's strong enough to support a foundation. Okay, it's very important. When my builder went, he's like, "Nah, this land is good. We're good. We are good. So I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about reinforcing the foundation And it's funny because one of the houses on the property, the house, they didn't dig deep enough into the foundation, and the house is starting to the foundation is pretty much starting to crack. And my builder pointed out, he's like, you see this house? He's like, if you don't dig deep enough into foundation to support the home, and it wasn't even like a two level, it was a one level home that's just leaning over, that could collapse at pretty much any given time. So whoever built that home, it was just it's a waste of their money, man. A waste. Only because the whole structure was up, including the pañete. Yeah. So, these are the kind of things that you gotta look out for. Making sure you get a sample on the property that you plan on buying, just to make sure that the house is gonna be, strong enough to support, your home. It's very important because one thing, I will tell you, people they will cut corners. They will definitely cut corners when it comes to your home. You think they give a shit about, the quality of your home? No. This is why it's important that, you make sure you find somebody that's reputable, you know, that's gonna do the right thing for sure, and making sure you have a contract, and the contract, you should have in your contract that at least no less than a 10-year warranty on your home. You want that security. God forbid something happens within that 10 years, that builder or that contracting company is totally responsible. You know, yeah, and take it for somebody that knows. You know, I've heard stories. And I've been transparent about my shortcomings. During the building process, I have. But now that I know what I know now and got what I have now, I could pretty much do this with my eyes closed. So that's why I'm excited about doing this next business venture. But for sure, guys, apartments are the way to go. They're the way to go. Even if you have the money, to build the dream home that you desire in Dominican Republic, why not take it and use that as an investment, capitalize on your investment, and then build what you really want wherever you want? You know, that's just my advice. I take the money and invest, and this is what a lot of us expats are doing out here. Bo Rakes has done it. I got the brother Noel, and another thing, guys, I got a new project that's about to be started up in Gasper Hernandez for anybody who is interested. I'm gonna post it in the community section. I haven't really had time to upload any content lately, because I've got my own, things going on. But this project that's going to happen in Gasper Hernandez it's going to be a beautiful project, and it's an African American woman who bought the land, and she's looking for like-minded people like herself. She kind of explained to me the kind of theme she wants her project to look like, and she's looking for people who are just basically like-minded, peaceful, people who like the mountain view, like nature, because that's exactly what the land gives. But the land, I will tell you guys, is relatively inexpensive. I think she said they're starting anywhere between $3,000 to $4,000. Um, and the only reason why I didn't jump on it is because I don't know. Puerto Plata has my heart. But who's not to say, when I go back home and start hustling, I may just jump on the investment. Um, the only thing about her project is that anybody that's investing in her project, uh she's asking them, she's asking whoever's investing to use her builder. And I did tell her, I said, some people, when people, I had to explain to her, when people are building their homes and using their money, they want to be able to use whoever they want to use. And I explained that to her, but she has her own idea how she wants things done. And from what I see, the layout of her project is really, really nice. I had a in-depth conversation with her about it. Um, Time is limited for me. Ideally, I like to go out there and see the land myself, and so that I can do a vlog on it, and so that you guys can see it. For those of you guys who might be interested investing in that kind of a project, but I think it's a great deal in terms of the pricing, and when it comes to building and stuff. I'm not sure how long she would want you to build, but I think I'll talk to her a little bit more about that so that I can get a little bit more clarity on what she expects and what she doesn't expect. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but I see that the population of expats are growing at a rapid pace, and a lot of us are starting to move outside of Puerto Plata and moving into other cities. I know for me, once my this next project is all said and done, and somebody asked me in the last video, my last live, he said, why would you take out a loan here in Dominican Republic? There's nothing wrong with taking, and let me make this clear, guys. If you're gonna take out a loan here in Dominican Republic, don't let the high interest rates here hinder you, only because, well, don't let it hinder you if you're gonna use that money as an investment. Okay, because if you're taking out a loan, that's what you should be taking out the loan for, as an investment and capitalizing on your investment. No, you shouldn't take out the loan to build your own home. No, you shouldn't do that. Because now you got to pay that loan back at its full term. The idea is taking out a loan for an investment. Once your investment is done, you pay the bank back, and that way you save all that money on the interest. You know what I'm saying? So let's just say, for an example, you borrow $100,000, dollars from the bank, and you're looking to build a two family home or three-family home. Well, once it's all said and done, the profit that you get from that, and it could be done in 6 months if you got the money. If you have the money, your construction could be done in 6 months. So let's just say you took out a loan and you did your project within 6 months. How much interest are you really paying on 6 months if you're paying the bank right back? You see what I'm saying? So this is why I say it's not a bad idea if you're looking to do it for an investment. Let me read Pan Americanism. How's Cabarete? Cabarete is great, man. It's nice. It's getting relatively expensive in Cabarete, and this is why people are moving in the outskirts. Because after you leave after Cabarete, it's kind of like Gaspar Hernandez. You know what I mean? So now you got people investing out there, and not just that. I think they're building a Ritz Carlton out in Gaspar Hernandez, if I'm not mistaken. So that's like one of the next up and coming cities. And for those of you guys who can't afford to live in Puerto Plata, start researching other cities closer to Puerto Plata. Gaspar Hernandez being one, and that's going towards, like I said, Cabarete. And then, the opposite way, look at like Maymon and Imbert, those parts, because and honestly, land is starting to get expensive in Imbert too. I just posted a video of an Airbnb that was just done by one of my associates. Check it out. Check it out, guys. And that Airbnb is located in Imbert. Very, very nice what they did. So it just goes to show you, like, they're starting to build on in the outskirts of the province of Puerto Plata. You know, I know everybody wants to be close to the beach, but listen, the North Coast is long. It's long. It's enough beaches for you, me, and everybody else to enjoy. You know what I'm saying? Now, once you start going to, like, leaving out of Puerto Plata, heading to Santiago, that's a whole nother story. But if you're one of those people that want to be, near the beaches and stuff, look at the outskirts. Like I said, Ember, Gaspar Hernandez, Sabaneta. Sabaneta's another city. It's nice. You got a lot of rivers and stuff like that. Yeah. Let me see. I disagree. Don't deal with Dominican banks. Well, like I said, um, the only way I would take out a loan It's for an investment. Everybody has their own idea. Um, I'm pro, getting a loan from a Dominican bank if you're going to use it as an investment. You know, you capitalize on your investment and pay the bank back. As I said, if they're going to lend you 100K to build a home, to build investment property, you know, two of those apartments in your project should be more than enough money to pay the bank back. You're only going to be paying a couple of months on the interest after your home is built. So this is for people that don't got the money. Not everybody has money in the bank, and not just that. You guys got to keep. I said this yesterday. United States make it so hard for African American and Latinos to get business loans. They just do. They just do. They make it so hard for us to get business loans. So if you can get that business loan here, why not do it? To start your project or whatever it is you're trying to start. That's just my opinion. Everybody's got their own idea and their own opinion, and I value everybody's opinion. But 6 months of paying high interest, okay, yeah, they don't lend you the money. You're paying it back in 6 months. The thing is, once your apartments are done, and the first two that you sell, that money you should be paying the bank back with, to avoid keep continuing to pay interest on it. You know what I'm saying? Your first couple of apartments you sell, that money goes straight to the bank. That's just my mentality, to avoid continuing to pay, high interest rates. You're not taking out the loan to to pay it, pay the loan the whole term. Yeah. Uh Hey Jay, I'm going to hit you up after your stream. If you have time, let me know. I want to talk business. For sure, bro. For sure. Call me after the stream, man. Call me after the stream. And I know you would love this land that I'm see, and that's another thing, guys. The community that I done bought and made my investment in, as I said, okay, yeah, the road needs to be done, but I already know I got a English professor next door. I got a lawyer that bought a shitload of land up there on the same block. So there goes my community right there. Once we get enough of us as building, we all chip in and fix the damn road. Make it cost effective and easy on everybody. You know, did you pay the car rental the 5,000, comma? Hell no, bro. I was just talking about that. And Haitian Gunman, he says, sorry, Jay, about your mishaps. Keep your head up, bro. Always. I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you. For those of you guys that are just coming in about the car rental thing, I talked about that in the beginning of the live. So for those of you guys that missed it, yeah, I'm gonna say it again. The car owner came knocking at my door like he was ready to fight. You know what I'm saying? Only because I told him that I went to my lawyer, just to get clarity and see what my rights are. Only because I didn't have the money to pay. What they were asking. You know what I'm saying? Oh, why did you go to your lawyer? Why didn't you tell us? First of all, I ain't got to tell you shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna tell you I went to my lawyer. That's my business. I'm protecting myself to make sure that y'all not gonna pull the okey doke on me. And which they did. One of the guys that they brought here, I knew him, and I knew he was a shyster. And once I seen him here with them, I already knew what kind of shit, what kind of time they were gonna be on. And this is one of the reasons why I called my lawyer right away. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he came knocking at my. I mean, not knocking, guys. Y'all already know we in the States, we don't play that shit. You don't come to our house with drama. You don't come to a person's house because now you looking for trouble knocking on somebody's door. And the way he was knocking at my door, he's knocking at my door like he was Hawaii 5 fucking no, like he was Popo. You know what I'm saying? Ready to bust my shit down with a barricade. With a like that's how he came. You know what I'm saying? And what makes you think I'm gonna come out of my crib and even talk to you when you're giving off hostile vibes? You know what I'm saying? You being hostile. Like, what makes you think I'm gonna have a whole conversation with you? And first of all, it's a language barrier. So you think I understand all of what you're saying? I only understand about 45% of what the fuck you saying. Excuse my French, but you know, he came here like only mad because I told him. I said, and then my lawyer wanted to speak to the guy that spoke English. And it just so happened that my lawyer knows him. So he said, Jay, Come to my office tomorrow at 9 o'clock so that we can sit down and discuss it. You know what I'm saying? He's talking about he got my ID. What you if I wanted to, I could leave Puerto Plata tomorrow. And what you gonna do with that? What you gonna do? You don't got my passport, and that's another thing, guys. I must tell you because never. I mean, I repeat this ever, 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 ever. When you're renting a car, because they tried to pull that shit with me. Not this rental company, but another one. When you're renting a car, don't ever, ever give them your passport. Ever. That will keep your ass here. Okay? And a lot of these rental car companies try to do that as a security, measure, but they shouldn't be doing that. Because if you're renting a car, they should be offering you full coverage if in case something happens. And as I said, if they're not willing to offer that to you, you let them know like it only costs 1,000 pesos for insurance. You know what I mean? If they're not willing to take that 1,000 pesos so that you have insurance to cover yourself while throughout the duration of your trip, you go to somebody else. You go to somebody else. You know, I even had one viewer tell me he wrote in the comment section the other day. He said that even renting from the airports, even renting in the airports, he damaged the car and they tried to make him pay 1,000 US dollars after the car was fully covered. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't just happen with renting from locals. It happens at the airport too. I'm sure there's a shitload of stories from people who have rented cars from the airport. But at the same time, you have to know your rights, man. You got to know your rights, and you got to. That's why I say it, and I say it all the time. You need to have you a lawyer at all times, if in case anything happens. And the idea is making that lawyer your friend. You know what I'm saying? I can call Fernando at any given time, and if I got an issue, he told them, because they wouldn't leave. They would not leave my balcony. They were sitting here, sitting like like they belonged here. I didn't invite you here. You know what I'm saying? I didn't invite him here. My bill. I mean, not my builder, my lawyer Fernando had to tell him. He knew the guy. He said, "Send me his number." I said, "I'm not giving them my phone because I don't want them to take my phone and throw the shit out of frustration." You know what I'm saying? So he said, "Send me his number." So I sent him his number, and he basically told him leave his property. Leave his property. Don't be sitting around at his property. Cause I was ready to call the police. That's how bad it was. That's how bad it was. And I got a camera to show because if the shit really gets real, I got a camera to show that they were banging at my door and I'm looking out my window, right? I wouldn't even come out. I'm like, yo, why you banging at my door? You know what I'm saying? Y'all have no idea. It took everything in me not to come outside and whoop his ass. And maybe I would have got my ass whooped too. I mean, these Dominicans, they built different out here. I'm not gonna say, but I can hold my own. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, he had me feeling some kind of way in my own crib. That because that shit don't fly back in the States. You don't just come to somebody's crib and being hostile. You know what I mean? Nah, cursing at me in Spanish. Yeah, it got real. It got real for a second, man. But now that I'm past that, I'm just like, man, it's been it's been a trip to say the least, man. But um, you know, most of all, I'm just happy with my investment, and I'm gonna post um the property that I bought. I'm gonna title it as cheap land in Dominican Republic. All right, so that y'all know it's the property that I invested in. All right, yeah. So look out for that. Look out for I got two projects. One in Cabarete for Kama asking me how's Cabarete. The brother that's doing 38 apartments in Cabarete, I'm gonna post some updates that he sent me yesterday, and then I'm gonna post the African American sister that's got her project going on out there in Gaspar Hernandez. So if you guys are interested in investing in a, and as I said, she's doing. I think phase 1 is going to be apartments. She's doing apartments, and then she's doing villas. But as I said, anybody that's looking to purchase in that particular um project, you got to use her builder, and maybe she might bend the rules a little bit because as I told her, not everybody's going to be apt to investing in that, only because people want to have the option of using whoever they want to use as their own builder. I mean, it's their own money that they're spending, but she's assuring me that the kind of homes that her builder is doing is quality homes. And as I said, I will post all of that of what she sent me in the community section. Y'all need to check out the community section. For those of you guys that don't know, I do post stuff in the community section. If I, especially if I, it's no point in me making a live if I'm posting pictures, of a project, or you know what I'm saying. So just check out the community section often, just to see if you see anything that I might have posted, so that you don't miss it. All right. Let me see. Any more questions? Okay. You lucky they Esau Asia, you lucky they don't beat you up. Well, like I said, I'm not coming here for problems. Esau, Asa. I'm not coming here for problems, man. Even if I had to, my thing is this. I'm willing to pay what I'm supposed to pay. And I told them that. Charge me what you would charge a Dominican. You know what I'm saying? Now, I already know when you get into a car accident, there's a deductible. So if I got to pay the deductible, I'm willing to pay the deductible. But don't try to, you know what I'm saying? My thing is, don't try to get over on me. That's my thing. Fair is fair. Be fair. And like I said, they're looking at me as a money grab. You know what I mean? Nah, y'all not gonna do that to me. Not when I got people here that's got my back. Nah, and that's why it's important for you guys to. I can't say it enough. It's important for you guys to have somebody that's honest enough to advocate for you, just in case you get yourself in a jam. It's important. Um, Alkamara Campos, I'm really sorry about that. It is what it is. It is what it is. I mean, I take things with a grain of salt, and I try to leave things in God's hands. I stay calm and cool. I try to stay as calm as I can, because I'm not. Why fight fuel with fire? The man was already on 100. So why am I gonna go back and forth with somebody, especially when there's a language barrier? You know? Yeah. But it is what it is. So he has your driver's license. Come on, no, he don't got my driver's license. He's got a picture of it. What are you gonna do with my driver's? He's like, oh, we got a copy of your driver's. Like, okay. Like I said, if I wanted to leave here tomorrow and jump on the next plane, there's nothing you could do. Nothing you could do. What could you possibly do? Now, if he had my passport, that'd be something different. But you don't. So there's nothing that they can do, really. Be careful the carrying big long knives. Well, I don't leave outside of my house, after a certain hour. You know what I'm saying? I once, as you see, I'm here. It's after dark. I do all of my stuff, handling my business during the day, whether it be going to the beach, and I don't really be out here in these streets after hours. I'm home in my comfort zone, and I got cameras on ground, and I also got a gate. So somebody try to come in here, you have to jump over the gate, and I'm gonna hear you before you get in here. Trust me, I sleep with one eye open. Okay, so you try coming in here, there's gonna be something waiting for you. Trust and believe that. Hey Cook, I can't hear you. Can you guys hear me? Let me know if y'all can hear me. Cause K Cook said they can't hear me. For those of you guys can hear me, let me know. I have experience. I speak? Sure. Oh, Ovi got a yeah, man. Go ahead, speak, bro. Speak. Let me know. Okay, you can hear me. All right, good. Ovi, gotta go ahead, man. Share your thoughts. That's what we here for. And if any questions y'all got, let me know. Let me know. Let's see. But yeah, so I guess I'll keep y'all posted. What goes down tomorrow with this lawyer and these car rental people. Like I said, my landlord told me that the document that they have is the contract is illegal. My lawyer said that the contract is illegal. He came here hostile because, like I said, he knows that it is legal, it is illegal, and you just trying to get over on me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you just trying to get over. That's why he came here big mad, because there's no reason for you to come to somebody's house, being hostile. For what? You want to do things the right way. You take legal action. You don't come to somebody's house. You know. But yeah, that's the situation, and you really don't know who you're messing with. Because if I, you don't realize that I do have a platform, and all it takes for me is to go to that rental car place, make a whole video, okay, and start sharing it with all the expats here in Puerto Plata, letting them know do not rent from these car people. You know, you don't want that smoke. You don't. I'm not here to be problematic with nobody. You know, I'm not. But one thing I will do, I will protect myself if I got to. Yeah, it's crazy, crazy. But there's a light at the end of the tunnel. This too shall pass. Like I said, I'm focusing on my investments. That's what I'm focusing on. So if you guys, y'all, matter of fact, y'all just stay tuned for tomorrow, because as I said, I'm gonna go up to the property where I bought my new land, and y'all are going to see all of what I got going on. I'm paying for the agreement story to come out, mark off my 650 square meters, okay, and if I'm going to try to get the lot cleaned out, maybe tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, let me see. Ovi Gaga. He says, I had an accident in 2022 and already gave my passport. UMC gave me a new passport within 2 hours. You had an accident in 222 and I already gave my passport. U.S. Embassy gave me a new passport within. Okay, so Ovi Gaga. Did you use a credit debit card for the rental car? No, comma. I use cash. I use cash money. So they can't. There's nothing that they can charge. And even if they try to charge it, all I gotta do is call my credit card company and tell them that I lost my card, and they'll send me another one. Now charge that. You know, there's always ways to get around it. And I have always been one to come to this country and support local businesses. You know, I'll be trying to help the little guy out, but the little guy always got their hands out and just greed, 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 greed. You know, and as I said, once I seen that the shyster with them, I already knew. I said, "Oh man, he's here," and he already knew that I knew what time it was, because he know that I know he was a shyster, only because we were we were cool at one point. I just cut him off completely, and then I asked the guy. I said, "How do you know him? How you know?" He was like, he looked at me like, "Oh, you know?" I was like, "Yeah." I said, "I know him. I know him." And I said, "He's no good. He's no good." And he's like, "Oh, well, we just friends. I know him since I was little, but I don't do business with him. So why is he here with you with this rental car situation if you don't do business with him?" You see what I'm saying? So at that point, once I seen that, that prompted me to call my builder to come and advocate for me, and which he did. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I've been there 10 times. I've had crazy experiences. I like to share. So Ovi Gaga, you want to come on? You want to come on live? You want to come on and share your experiences, man? If you do, let me know and I invite you. I'm like, what the hell was that? Um, Let me see if I can put it in. I'm gonna put it in here in the chat, and you can copy it and paste it. Let me see. Let me see. Hold on. I'm gonna have to turn it around. Give me 1 minute. All right. Let me see if it goes in. Okay. I believe I put it in, Ovi Gaga. That's it right there. If you want to come on in and share your experiences, by all means, come on in on the live, bro, because people need to hear that. My encounters and my experiences here could be different from everybody else's. So, it's always good to share our experiences to help those who are coming into this country to navigate and know what to do. It's very important. I'm always transparent with y'all. Y'all know that. I try to I try to be as much as I can, and sometimes I get the backlash, but who gives a shit? Um, Respect you. Seem like a nice person. Built. Hold on. Comments. Oh, okay. Hold on, guys. Okay, there we go. Respect you. Seem like a nice person. Built and in rent. Come check up on every 6 months. Advertise and argue. Also advertise. Don't argue with. Nah. Yeah, so I said I'm not. I didn't argue with that man. I have no desire in argue. I don't even get loud. I don't. This is just how you hear me talking. I don't get. I'm not a loud person. Even if I did try, I get hoarse. I lose my voice. I'm not a loud person. So I always try to remain calm. Give me a minute to pull over. I'm trucking. All right, Ovi Gaga, I'm waiting for you, bro. Yeah, I want to hear some of your experiences, my brother. Yeah, it'd be nice to have you come on and talk about it. Let's talk about it. I got time today. I got time. Yeah. But yeah, man, for those of you guys that are looking to make an investment, like I said, I done sent a few of the brothers the video before. They got first dibs on the land. And now I'm gonna share it with you guys. And as I said, when you're looking at properties, you gotta overlook certain things. Land is land. Even if I tell people, I always say if you can afford to buy a little bit more than 600 square meters. 650 is actually one Tadea. So I have one Tadea that I bought. Okay, one Tadea. Um, let's just say you can't afford to buy your home and build your home right then. Right now. You buy 600, especially if it's a community that's you see construction going on or people are buying up land. You buy it and you sit on it. You sit on it until those houses start being built. Once those houses start being built, you got yourself 600 square meters. You take half of that 600, keep three for yourself, and you sell the other half, and then that money can fund your project. So you always want to buy enough so that you can resell it. That's what a lot of us Americans have done here. How you think a lot of them have done it? They bought, and then if you can't afford to buy it by yourself, you get a couple of your friends and family members together and y'all chip in and buy it together. You know, there was a piece of property up in Maymone overlooking the cruise ships. I got a video of that. Like this is going back over a year ago. Now that was like 7,000 square meters, almost 8,000 square meters. It was a mountain. It was a mountain, and yeah, the guy they wanted 120,000 for it, man. I think like 119, and I know I could have got it for about like 100,000. You know what I'm saying? And you figure you get 10 people to build 10 people to invest. That's $10,000 per person, and then everybody split it up. 10 divided by 7,000 square meters. You got what? You got what? Maybe is that 700 meters per person on the mountain? So I always say, if you can't do it by yourself, you get a couple of your buddies or your family to go in on on investment with you. You can't lose when you're buying land. You can't lose. Yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a project up there and make it happen. Make it happen. Especially when I go back home. I'm gonna try to get a loan going back home. If I can get me a loan, enough to just build. Because even if you can't get all the money that you want, right? Start off with two apartments, and you tell your builder to make it to whereas you can make two more apartments after you. Because I got a buddy that's doing that right now from Europe. You know, he he's starting with two apartments. He told me the other day. He said, "Jay, I sold one already, and it had apartments. He's in pre-construction mode. You know, well, actually, the structures are already up, but he done already sold one. Now he can move on with the other two floor with the other floor. You know, so it can be done. Almost at exit two, 2 miles. All right, Ovigata. I'm waiting for Ovigata to come in, guys, to share his experience in Dominican Republic. Yeah, so y'all hold on if y'all can. And if y'all got any questions, this is what I'm here for. And this is 20 of y'all in here. Hit that like, hit the share, and hit the subscribe. It costs y'all nothing to hit those buttons. Some of y'all be afraid. Some of y'all just don't want to do it. You know, for what reason? I don't. I don't know. This is informative information that I'm providing. It costs you nothing, nothing at all, you know. But yeah, try to make as much investments as you can. There's no telling what the United States is going to bring, and that right there, this, you know, the fact that the uh the U.S. dollar has dropped here, that tells us a lot. It should tell you a lot. When I went, because I had to pay my lawyers some money, and I went to my bank reserves account, got the U.S. dollar because when I withdraw a U.S. dollar out of my bank reserves account, I don't never exchange my money at the bank. They give you a lesser rate. So I got the money, and I went to this one spot that I know they usually give you a good rate, and my builder was like, "Nah, it's all the same. It's all the same." So we go in there and we find out what the rate was. There was like $58, 58 pesos on the dollar. We walked right out of there. So then we went to Carib Express, and it was the same thing, $58. I'm like, yo. So when I got here in the beginning of April, the rate was $61 per US dollar. Now it done dropped to 58. So we're kind of losing money out here. And let's thank our government for that, for real. And that's why I tell y'all, man, we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, when it comes to the United States. And this is why I'm working hard as I can now, because once shit hits the fan, I know I got a place to come to. You know what I'm saying? For real, you know? Um, and even with the residency, I was talk actually I did some research on that, guys. So once you have land, because I think I mentioned that to you guys yesterday in the live about my build, not my builder, my lawyer telling me. He said, Jay, once you get your paperwork for your house, he said you need to do your residency right away. You know what I mean? And he said I can get it fast track for you. So to get your residency fast track, guys, we're talking about 45 days. And he told me you have all of what you need to get a fast track residency. You've traveled the country more than 5 times. You've got land here, you've got property here, you have a banking account here. Oh, okay. Ovi Gaga's on, guys. Hold on. Let's bring him on to the stage. Ovi Gaga, you there?
Hey, what's going on, bro? What's going
What's
on?
good with you?
Out here trucking across 48 states in the United
Listen.
States. You know what I'm saying?
The grind is real, brother. The grind is real. Make the
For
make the
sure.
money, make the money so you can come out here and make it happen like the rest of us.
Listen. That's I had to come on because I'll be watching your show, and I be listening to your testimony, and I did see you interview people and everything like that. And
Uh-huh.
I was like, I've been going to DR since 2021. I mean, let me just put it to you like this: like, not to brag, but the embassy, they know me pretty well over there. We be cracking jokes. I've been there quite a few times.
Uh-huh.
It's you know I've lost my passport. You know, technically,
Okay.
uh, more than once
Oh
while I
wow.
was out there. So there's, I can't say too much, but this is what I'm gonna say on the topics of today
Uh huh.
about the land, apartments, life in DR. Even though I don't actually live there full time, I'm trucking across the United States 8.5 years. I got 1,000,000 miles, top 1% trainer. I got awards and all that. I started going to DR in 2021
Uh
based
huh.
on, in my Israelite belief and in Israelite tradition, it's normal for a man to have multiple wives.
Uh huh.
When I went to DR, I had no idea about no passport bros, none of this stuff about, that you see with the gender war, none of that. I never had any of those things going on. But really, love is what brought me to DR.
Uh huh.
And then I started picking up the bills and making things comfortable for me and my love interests. You know what I'm
Uh
saying?
huh. Uh huh.
And that's what led me to start going to DR more frequently. So I ended up going a good ten times and like pretty fast for most people. In
Uh
like
huh.
2 years or so, I've been there 10 times.
Mm.
So I have experience with what you're talking about, even when it comes to renting apartments, getting into some, same type of experience you had where they coming for you
Uh
and
huh.
they don't like the fact that you got representation for the situation and they feel offended by that. I've been
Uh
there.
huh. Uh huh.
Same scenario. I had an accident in 2022 when I was driving this car, right?
Uh huh.
And usually I get the car from a local, but this
Okay.
time I got the car from somebody at the airport because I remember her from the last time I was there.
Okay.
But she said she got a buddy that does the rentals and he can give me a better price on the car.
Uh huh.
And particularly, I didn't want to pay the hundreds of dollars deposit that they wanted to charge me. That's the reason I gave him my passport, not knowing better.
Uh huh. Okay. Okay.
So the start of I had a little spat with the United States Embassy, particularly this guy from Boston. If you guys are from the United States and you're going to DR, you lose your passport. I'm telling you, there's a guy at the embassy from Boston. He's running the show for the most part. He's like a higher ranking officer there for the United States Embassy. You don't want to butt heads with him. And you don't want to be in DR acting a fool, getting into mischief because your name's going to circle around the United States Senate. I'm sorry, the United States Department of State that runs the embassy over there. They're going to be watching you very carefully from that day forward. Trust me.
Uh.
So anyway, I gave my passport renting this car, and as you said, guys, don't do that. Absolutely do not give your passport to nobody.
Mm.
Not only will you be paying for another passport at the embassy, when you come back to the United States, you're going to get an emergency passport potentially. They're going to give you an emergency passport to get back to the United States. But at the United States, you're going to have to pay for another passport.
Uh.
And that one might only be good for 1 year, which really means 6 months because Dominican Republic does not accept you coming there with a passport that expires within 6 months. So when you get back to the United States, you got to pay for the passport again for a second time.
Uh
It
huh.
might only be for a year,
Uh
which
huh.
at DR you can only use for 6 months.
Uh.
Okay. Now you're going to pay for a third passport, and you better hope they are feeling like in a good mood when they call you up. What happened to your previous passport? And then they might give you a 10-year passport. And that's going to take a year. Right? That's the situation I'm in now. So because of my previous spats
Uh
in
huh.
DR, it's coming up on a year now that I'm trying to get a 10-year passport, which is what I used to have back in the 2020 time period when I first came there. So Don't give your passport to nobody for no rental car, no jet skis, no excursions, no yachts
Mm-hmm.
out in Boca Chica. Okay? Don't give your passport to nobody for none of that stuff. It's not worth it. Pay the deposit. If you can't pay the deposit, team up with your friends or whatever. And if you can't do it, then you can't afford to do it. Do it another time in the future. Your passport and your freedom and being stuck in a jail cell in DR, none of that is worth the. It's not worth the trouble. None of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's that. Okay. And so, I don't know if you. Well, I mean, do you have any questions on that? Because
I
that's
mean,
what the card.
I don't. I mean, I already know not to give out my passport. That's why I inform the viewers like, nah, that because a lot of these locals, this is what they want to do. Especially local rental car companies here. They'll try you. They'll try you. You know what I'm saying? You got to tell them no because God forbid you get into an accident. They're not giving you your passport back until you pay them what they're asking. You see what I'm saying? Not
Yeah.
not what you should be paying, but what they're asking. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. So to avoid uh altercations, because in my situation they started talking tough and all that type of stuff. When I sense that there's aggression, a lot of times, and this is like something I just instinctively started to do over the
Uh
years of
huh.
being a man. I can foresee altercations light years ahead of other people.
Uh huh.
So by the time that they tried to come for me to do violence, they were just it was probably funny to them that they were greeted with people that had my back. And at that particular apartment, the owner of the property was there. He's like, look, I know y'all coming for some smoke. It's not going to happen. Terrence is our guy. He's our
Uh
people.
huh.
Can't let you do that. So kindly go find something else to do. And they pretty much took care of it for me. And that's another thing. Don't come to DR and not know absolutely nobody like I did. Just a girl or
Uh
two.
huh. Yeah.
You're putting yourself at risk for being
Right.
taken advantage of. You know. Um. Yeah. So I basically used Airbnb, which I was lucky because the chick that I got it from, she had another place, and I just went over there.
Uh
So
huh.
getting into fights, getting into big altercations with people in DR, it's not worth it because you're gonna get stuck in the
So let
system.
me let me ask you a question. So what was the outcome with the whole car situation after the accident? Was you forced to pay him? Like what happened? They kept your passport?
So they kept my passport. I went to the embassy and told them um, a little bit about the situation, not everything.
Okay.
And they gave me an emergency passport uh, within 2 hours.
Okay.
They were they were very very pissed.
You said they were very pissed?
Yeah, the embassy was pissed at me
Oh wow. Why? Because you gave your passport?
because I gave my passport. They were
Yeah.
very pissed.
Yeah.
Um, I didn't pay because I told them, look, when the accident happened, the owner of the car, the guy I got the car from, you told me you sent the owner to come help me with the situation. The owner showed up, right? The guy I ran into by accident, really, he hit me from the side because I switched lanes a little too fast.
Okay.
But I knew that I had full coverage for everything.
Okay.
Not that I did it on purpose, but I thought I could get in there quick enough, and we both made the decision coincidentally at the same time. So that's
Uh-huh.
how it happened. But yeah, I mean, the owner showed up. He told me, "You're good to go. You're good to go. Head out. Just be safe. Go do your thing." And the guy I rented the car from, he wanted problems. So I kept trying to tell him, "Look, the owner showed up. He said it's all good. I have
Uh-huh.
full coverage anyway." He kept trying to lie to me, convincing me I don't have full coverage. I know for a fact I did because that's what I signed. And I went over the receipts. And it really turns out like this is a normal type of scammy thing that's going on.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and let me tell you, I'm sure I'm not the only one this has happened to, and this is why we need to be informed. If I were you guys, to be honest with you, it's better that you just have a local drive for you. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, if you're gonna rent a car, you know, like most times when I'm renting, I usually have my builder drive. You know what I mean? That way, if in case something happens, you they can say, you know what, I was the one in the car accident. You know what I mean? Opposed to the gringo, because as soon as once we get into a car accident, you better it's for you to be nervous and feeling all kind of scared and all kind, yeah, because they coming for you, they coming for the dollar, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
they coming for the dollar, you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So
um
about the land and renting, right?
uh-huh.
I have experience with that too.
Well, let's talk about it, let's talk about it.
So I don't want to put out any names and stuff, but I do want to comment on the bank rates,
Okay.
the approval processes, and honestly, just renting apartments in general out there. So for foreigners coming there, right?
Uh-huh.
Number, you've given great advice. You know, get representation. Go see the properties. Don't be sending money over the internet and payments and stuff trying to lock it down. And it's a sales tactic to get people to do that, and it's not smart to do that.
Right.
Get somebody that you know and trust, or a professional attorney and things like that who's qualified. If you can't physically make it, go. They need to go there and do a video call with you. You need to see this apartment or this land or whatever with your own eyes and check the documentation, like you said. I've paid for apartments in the pursuit of relationships, being a responsible man,
Uh-huh.
uh, and things are not always what they seem.
Right.
So you need, like any foreigner, you need to be on your P's and Q's down there, just like you would where you're from. You need to be getting receipts. You need to be seeing documentation. You need two sets of keys. You need to know
Uh-huh.
who. You need to know if you can put cameras up. You need, if you, let's say if you got Starlink. You know Starlink got the satellite dish for the internet.
Right. I got the what you call it, the ring, I forget what you call it, the ring
Yeah,
for,
right.
yeah, for my apartment, yeah. And I got internet and all of that stuff here, so like when I leave here, I have an option. I spoke to my landlord about this today, about keep renting it out as an Airbnb when I'm not. She said, look, I don't care what you do, as long as I get my money on time, you know what I mean? Yeah. So you always want to make sure your apartments are secure. And I tell people, bro, you just, I'm Mr. Nice Guy, and being Mr. Nice Guy gets you nowhere. Trying to help people. You see people living in poverty and shit. You want to help. You know what I'm saying, and do the best you can to help. But when you do help, you get no. People are just not. They're not appreciative. They're not appreciative, and you get screwed over and over again. You know, it makes you feel numb after a while. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to help.
Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. How long have you been traveling to DR, and what made you decide to jump on a plane and say, you know what, let me come to DR? Like, what made you decide to do that?
So it started October 21st. I'm sorry, October 2021 was my first trip. But I go back to the early days of internet dating. Right. I'm 38. I started talking to this chick in DR. I believe it was 2008.
Uh huh.
That fell off, and then I met another chick from DR 2016. Uh, Foolishly, I paid a lot of expenses over 2016 to 21, and I finally went there to go see her. That didn't work out, but I had a couple other chicks that like me. So with them, it just sailed off from there, and I kept coming back from there. And that's when I got apartments, cars. Man, I am literally the Phantom of the Opera. I am like a myth. I've been doing this for years, and you are the first person who's ever seen my face,
uh,
and your audience is too. There's
wow.
people. There's people I've known in DR for years. They've never seen my face. Don't even know what I look like.
Uh,
But eh, life is. You know, I'm like this. I'm this close to being like coming out of my back cave on a normal basis. So
Uh,
yeah, I feel comfortable coming on here right now. So
okay.
yeah.
So what cities? I mean, when you normally travel to DR, like what's your territory? The North Coast, the South, where?
Yeah, Boca Chica. I forget the name of this town. Like that main route that goes along the south coast. You pass
Okay.
through. You pass through Santo Domingo,
Uh huh.
Boca Chica, San Juan, I believe, or San
Is it by
no,
Iguana?
by Iguana.
Yeah, because that's where I've just visited for the holiday weekend. Oh man,
Oh,
nice little and I tell people, for brothers like us that have been traveling, to DR for a while, there's no reason why we shouldn't be, experiencing other cities, man.
yeah,
Um, going to buy iguana was an experience for me, to say the least. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a small city, but bro, I felt so safe there. I felt, when I tell you, I felt so safe. Like everybody was just warm, inviting. The women beautiful. A lot of melanated women there. I mean, but just the culture and the people there now, very poor. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny because when my boy is from Santo Domingo, so he found me. We had lost contact. He found me on TikTok, and I was like, oh shit, like, wow, who would have known? I had lost contact with him for like 4 years, and he's like, yo, where you at? I said, I'm like, bro, I'm in Puerto Plata. Que lo que? On the live. It's my builder. Say what's up. Get okay. I'm on my channel. I was telling him about the situation with the. Did you see the camera? No, no, I didn't check. You didn't see the camera? I need to say my sister. Yeah, I told you this happened around 5 o'clock, like maybe about 30 minutes after you dropped me off. Bro, he was banging on my door like la policia. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, it got crazy, bro. He got crazy. Fernando told me to hold on, guys. Fernando told me come to his office tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. I want you to go with me. Yeah, just send me your location. I'm gonna come and get you, and we go straight to his officina mañana. Yeah, because if I had to pay the deductible, that's one thing. It's the legal. It's legal. It's legal, right? And how much? How much? What the contract say. Right, but do you saw what the deductible said? 450,000. No, how much is a normal deductible? Normal. ¿Cuánto eso tu pago? It's like 30, 40,000. You see that, guys? So if in case you get into it, five. Yeah, he 500,000. He's talking. So this is yeah, yeah. So here from my builder, the horse's mouth, who is a local Dominican here. The most you should pay is 40,000 pesos for a deductible. You know what I'm saying? And
mm.
that's like $800, and I'm willing to pay that. You know what I mean? I'm willing to pay that. But they trying to get over, man. It's just crazy. Yeah.
Well, I want to say this right because I don't want. Listen. Dominican Republic is truly a a a very special place in my heart.
Uh huh.
Okay.
Mine's too. That's why I keep coming
Take
back. I've been traveling
yeah
here since 2016, bro. I
yeah
got I got I got 10 years. I got some time in the game. You
yeah.
know.
I say it in Spanish. Con todo mi corazón, mi te amo, República Dominica. Todos gentes in general. I love the Dominican people in general with all my heart. But and I don't want this conversation to be like bashing, bashing. This is just a small group of people that do this type of stuff. Most of my experience in DR over the years has been so beautiful. It
Uh
has
huh.
become such a sacred, beautiful place for me.
Uh huh.
And honestly, I keep it a secret from a lot of Americans because I don't want them coming down there bringing the American mentality, bringing the
Uh
rush mentality,
huh.
and and things like that. I don't want Americans to come and Americanize Dominican Republic. It's such a sacred, beautiful place to me.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? So this is not to bash DR. This is just a few people that do some bad things that we're talking about. So we love DR, and DR is always going to be in my heart. But
Hmm.
anyway, yeah. So when it comes to renting apartments, what I wanted to
Uh-huh.
say as well, and trying to buy land. So I don't like the bank rates. I don't the rates that they show me and the qualifications that you gotta have is not that bad, but the rates are high.
What the rates?
Yeah, the rates
But
are high, bro.
I know I already know they're high. He's talking about in the bank the what when you get a loan when the bank give you money for construct a casa and they say the interest is locked off. But I told them even though the interest is high, you use it. You take the money for investment, make a project though, and you pay them back right away. You pay the bank back right. You pay. That's all I'm saying is you pay the
Yeah,
bank back. You know, as soon as you people buy into your project. You know that way that saves you on the interest. You see what I'm saying? The
yeah,
idea that's the idea. Like I would never take out a loan in a Dominican bank to build my own house and have to pay the whole term of that loan. It doesn't make sense.
yeah. Now this is I have to do more research on it, but to me it still seems like foreigners are part of the reason for that. For example, there's a huge project. I don't want to say their name because I don't want to have no beef with them, but there's a huge project, and if you know, you know. If you're really
Uh-huh.
in the business of real estate, you're going to hear about this project. It's in Samana.
In Samana?
Samana, yeah.
Okay.
It's beautiful. But the small space upon which they're building these initial entry level properties, these are like 1 bedroom and 2 bedroom housing properties, and they go up like building up, and then you can get like a flat.
Uh-huh.
The view is great, but I mean the price is freaking crazy, bro.
Uh-huh.
And it's stuff like that, and it's projects like that that don't help with the prices of borrowing money, right?
Uh-huh.
So that's part of the issue. And I have to get on the foreigners, especially Americans, Canadians, and Europeans, for coming there, doing those type of prices on those projects. It's going to make things unnecessarily shoot up way too high, way too fast. Like it's
Well,
still going to take years, right?
it
It's not going to
already
happen overnight.
it already has, especially here in Puerto Plata, man. I mean, like for instance, you know, in the United States, let's just say you want to buy a house in a certain community. Usually, all those houses in that certain community it ranges in the same. It's in the same price range, but that doesn't. That's not how it is here in Dominican Republic. Like for instance, Playa Costumbar. That's prime example. Like, bro, you got houses ranging from 300, 200, 300,000 to like $1 million houses. Like, you know, so how, you know, I always said, like, how do they, where do you get these comps from? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
the
you know,
comps.
we have, you know, there's in this country, there's no regulations in terms of that. You know what I mean? Like we have a database where we can go in and check to see, you know, houses that are in your price range in which that are in the same community, and that's just not it here. You know what I mean? So it's really hard for you to be able to. I mean, the only way, like, let's for instance, you try to sell your house, you can pretty much sell it for however you want to sell it for, and there's no cap on what you're selling your house for. You know what I mean? It's no cap. You know, this is why I tell people, man, it's better to build your own house. It's better. I'm gun ho with that. It's better you build your own house because you're gonna know exactly how much you paid for it. You know, opposed to buying something that's already pre-built. And you know, I do foresee a real estate collapse in this country only because they are charging way too much. You know what I mean? Way too much with these houses here in Dominican Republic. You
Yeah,
know?
so builders. Oh, go ahead if you want to finish.
No, go ahead.
So for I've been watching you and your experience, and you know, I got probably when I get there, like next month or June, there's a resource I want to share with you and your builder, right? Like so, I'm looking for the right team to do this with, but I do have
Okay.
some ideas for building with compressed earth bricks. So essentially, the builder can get the soil sample, right?
Uh-huh.
With the compressed earth brick machines that I want to bring into the country, builders like him can build more efficiently, pay a lower cost for the bricks because they're manufacturing the bricks themselves, and
Uh-huh.
actually a lower cost on soil and cement, for example. So if you mix a small percentage of cement with clay and soil that's originally from that location
Uh-huh.
where you're building, you can you can dig up that raw material, that soil,
Uh-huh.
mix it with a certain percentage of cement, for example, for to make it more solid. If you
Uh-huh.
use the compressed earth brick machines that I'm bringing in, that I want to bring in, you can literally use your own soil on location to build the house. Now, here's why it's good to do that. You saw what happened with the California wildfires,
Right.
bro. When are they going to learn? I drove through wildfires before as a truck
Uh-huh.
driver. I was stuck up there and that stuff. Um, it's like when are they going to learn? So these wildfires can be prevented or be like reduced, like the risk,
Right. Contained.
because because if Dominican Republic starts to make it normal to build with this raw material straight from the location of the where the property is being built, they're
Uh-huh.
not going to have those experiences like that.
No.
Build with
No.
less wood and more brick,
Yeah.
the fires can't go that crazy.
Well, that's one of the reasons why the houses they got burnt down so fast because of the
Yeah,
materials that we use back home.
yeah.
And I said that. I said if those homes were built with cement block, that would have never
It
happened.
never
And I
would have went that far.
California, New York, America, period, needs to change their way their building codes.
Yeah,
Honestly, New York City is they build with cement block. New York they have to. With the
steel and
skyscraper,
cement. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, steel and cement. But I don't want to lose any of these comments. Okay, Clint Johnson said he's looking for 600,000 meters. Look, bro, anybody that's looking for land, just reach out to me, TAYLORJAYSON01@gmail.com. And guys, don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. My builder text something here that I'm just gonna read. He says, here, it is normal that you buy a car. Let's suppose the car and the finance company is worth $700,000 on top of what they finance. Those 700 the 700,000 at 2%, which rises to a million, a 1 million, 1.4 million. And in 5 years, it's better to buy a car from an owner on the street, as we say, outside of a finance company, and it is worth less than those that pay for 400, and they make you pay 2%, which rises to 8,000. And there is a lot of difference because you will only pay it in 2 years. So and that's true. A lot of Dominicans do buy, locally, opposed to going, to these dealers. And not just that, guys. I will tell you this. Sometimes when you're buying from a dealer, you don't know what you're getting because it could be a car that was shipped from the United States with water damage. You see what I'm saying? A
Yeah.
flooded car, because a lot of these cars that they ship here, I put it this way, my mechanic is Dominican, and he ships a lot of cars from, he gets auction cars that he ships out to DR all the time. So you really don't, you sometimes you might think you're buying a brand new car, and the shit is a salvage car.
Well,
You see what I'm saying? Yeah, for sure.
yeah. You got to compare the price of shipping the car there and having the patience to wait for it
But
versus
they
whatever the
always say that
retail
the
price is.
cheapest place, cuando tú necesitas el carro, es bien cuando tú visitas La Vega. Ese La Vega is good, right? Yeah. If you It's not good financing. It's not. He's so against financing cars
Financing
here.
the car. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because the kind of cars you finance, you're actually paying double here, you know, and you got to weigh it out. Like, if you want to ship a car from the United States to Dominican Republic, you got to pay the taxes on that. You know what I mean? The weight, the taxes, and then they even making it harder for you now. It could be no more than 5 years old.
Oh, okay.
It can't. Yeah, the car has to be no more than 5 years old, and most of us are still paying leasing a car and financing a car. So and then after the lease is up, now you got to ship it. That's another 10,000. You know what I'm saying? So is it really worth you shipping a car from here, from the United States here? I always say no. You might as well just buy the damn car here.
Yeah. Not only that, but for foreigners coming to DR, right? I don't know how many people know this, but there is a limit to how many days from when you arrive to how many days you're allowed to drive with your foreigner driver's license. I'm not sure. I forget if it's 90 days or 6 months. I forget. But there's a limit. After
Uh-huh.
that, you have to get your residency to be able to keep driving.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
You can ask a
Okay.
lawyer. There's a limit to how many days you can come and drive with your current driver's license. At a certain point, you will be expected to get residency or
Uh-huh.
leave and come back until you get residency because they
And
only
and
allow
that's
you to drive so many days.
and that's why I tell you guys, it's better you traveling here, you got investments here. The next best thing is to get residency, because then that allows you to do a lot here.
Yeah.
And I'm getting, like I told you, I said mentioned it before. I'm getting my residency fast tracked once all my paperwork comes through. In 45 days, I have my residency here, and that allowed me to do so much more. Yeah.
Yeah. So as far as the properties that you got that you've been promoting and that you're introducing, so I wish I now actually there was a recent there was a recent property you showed us where it was up in the hills and there was a lot of land.
Uh huh.
You know what I'm talking about? That's up in the north.
The
It
North
was
is
like
so big, man. We got.
well, I know I
You got to be,
oh
bro. You got to be a little bit more
I
specific.
know. So I'll be in Boca Chica. I'll be out in the far east, not all the way over in Punta Cana. I do like a L. I ride
Uh huh.
the south coast, and then I go up. I hang out in Santiago, but I never been to Puerto Plata.
You never been
So
to the North Side? Oh man.
nah, I've been up to
I like
Santiago
it.
as high as I've
Thank
been.
you, sir.
So I
Oh,
got
you got you got to come to my side then.
yeah.
Él nunca vive aquí Puerto Plata, pero Boca Chica, Santiago. This is,
No.
I mean,
Right now, I got an
some
apartment in
everybody has
Santiago.
their own opinion. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
I tell people it's all of what you come here for. You know what I mean? I was talking to Junior. Shout out to Junior from Dominican Route. He was telling me. He said one of his boys. Santo Domingo is his territory. He said he came out here, and okay, okay. He said he came out here and he didn't like it. He didn't like it. After a while, he didn't like it. And I'm like, if you just come in here for the chicas, after a while, you are gonna get bored. This is why
yeah,
yeah, you are gonna get bored after a while. If that's what you coming here for. You know what I'm saying? Like how many times you gonna you know play around and go to the beach? Like, so Sue is about this small. You know, it's
yeah,
it's not big, and even people that want to see, I think there's a preconceived notion when it comes to Sosua. And what I say is that people come here on vacation and they come for a week or two, and they're like, "Oh, I want to live in Sosua. I want to live in Sosua." You know what I'm saying? I want to be in Sosua. Try staying in Sosua for 2 or 3 months as a gringo. You're gonna see a big difference. My buddy that bought property up in Sosua, he's from Europe. He lives in Holland. He told me, he said, Jay, and he's a brother. He said, Jay, I've been out here for about a month. He said, I don't think I could live in Sosua, man. And mind you, he done bought property. He's building apartments out there. And he's just like, I think he said he thinks what he's gonna do is once he sells his apartments, he's gonna go to Santo Domingo. or I think he said Punta Cana, either the two. But you know, I highly recommend you coming out here and checking it out for yourself. Um, as much as I come to Puerto Plata, I only go to Sosua to go to the beach, and that's it. I don't hang out in Sosua. Um, it's not my thing. You know what I mean? I'm Puerto Plata all day. You know what I'm saying? It's enough going on in Puerto Plata where I don't got to go to Sosua. Now don't get me wrong. Sosua Beach is one of my favorite beaches on the North Coast. I love Sosua Beach, but all the other extracurricular that goes on, I'm just not. I'm just not on that time, bro. I'm just not. You know.
Yeah. So about that, right? So I guess I should probably bring this up too. So a lot of foreigners, right? Brothers especially be coming down there, and they know they see these flashy buildings, and it's like basically a hookup garage type thing.
Uh huh.
Right? You pull in, you got a private room, you pay for a couple, 30 minutes, an hour, a couple hours, whatever.
You talking about the cabanas?
The cabanas.
Yeah, yeah.
Brothers gotta be careful with the cabanas, right?
Uh,
Um, you know, I've had a few experiences, you know, just be careful with that type of stuff because I got robbed
well,
and
no,
they're
well,
so.
elaborate on the cabana, man, because I mean, I've
Okay.
stayed in one or two, but tell me your experience.
So yeah, this is why I say you gotta be careful. Just like anything in life, and just like anywhere in life, this can happen, right? But the way that this went down was so smooth and crazy, like it just I felt so disappointed in myself. So sometimes if you go to those cabanas and you pull up, you see who you like and you want to link up with them. And mind you guys, this is like in DR, this is perfectly legal. They're the business model that they're doing where they get those rooms and the women can offer themselves for money. That's perfectly legal in DR. Uh, but you still got to be careful. Some of them, and they got a little ring or gang or whatever it is, they do this where their strategy is once you get in there, you're expecting to get whatever affection or whatever. Then it turns into like, oh, my phone, my friend needs me, and something like that, or my daughter or whatever. They'll find some reason to go ahead and open the garage door. Mind
Uh,
you, when you pull in there, you're shutting the garage door. Okay.
uh,
And you got to be careful with letting them tell you which one to go to because this is like a normal routine for them. And
okay.
you're going to get robbed. It's going to be smooth. Probably not no type of violence. Just their friend or cousin or whoever, another girl or a trans person. This will happen to me. They're going to come in there. It's an emergency. Blah blah blah. She lets them in. Right. So now you hurry up, get your clothes on because they're coming in. Right.
Uh,
And you don't really get no action. Here goes all your time that you paid for. And this is unfortunately there's a ring of ladies, especially in Santo Domingo, that do this. So you
uh-huh.
gotta be careful because they're so smooth. They took my debit cards. The trans person was mad at me because I didn't want them. The trans person swung on me when I got in my car. Tried to snatch my phone. And I got real mad. Like I called the security guys over there. Literally, I'm like not even fully dressed. I got so pissed. I ran out there. Y'all better come get these people right now. Y'all better come get them right now because I'm that dude. I will go down in history. I'm that type of dude. So
Hmm.
y'all need to come get them. But you gotta be careful
Hmm.
because there is a small network of them that I've seen with my own experience. Like this is their normal routine. They go around to the cabanas, they scam you, they steal from you, they rob you, and yeah, it's like killing me softly. So smooth how they do it. Yeah,
That's why
gotta be careful with
it's
that.
always, it's always best to get with one female. You know what I'm saying? And just stick with that one, man. Playing, moving around from female to female. All you asking for is trouble in this country. You know, find one good one and stick with it. You know, um, and that's if you living here full time. You know, and a lot of brothers that I know that live here, a lot of them are single, even still living here is single because it's hard to find somebody that's a quality woman without feeling like all she's looking for is money or you being a cash cow. So and I see it a lot. A lot of us are out here single, man. um Only for that reason, because it's really hard to trust when you got locals telling you trust nobody. You need to take heed to that. You need to take heed to it. And this is why I've only been in one serious relationship with a woman from this country, and she don't even live here anymore. She's in the States now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she
Mm.
moved. She's in the States, bro. She she got her meal ticket out of here, and she called me when she got there too. Thought I was gonna welcome her in my place with open arms. Nah, I'm glad you're here. Now you can see how hard it is that we gotta fucking work and maintain a quality of life. Good
Yeah,
luck to you. Good luck. I'm happy for you and good luck. And that's all that happened with that.
yeah.
Yeah.
For Dominican people who are born and raised in Dominican Republic, that is a reality check that I'm seeing. It's like there. This is becoming a hot topic of actually getting to the United States. Getting a place to live, getting work,
Um,
and then they are hit with the reality after maybe a few months or a couple years, just how much you gotta work, and then like the American dream, you start to see it's distorted, or it's not necessarily real in the way that you thought it was. And so, people coming to the United States from DR, for example, you gotta have a really good plan and find quickly, sooner than later, a way to balance your work life. You got to find a good work life balance, because if you come into America and start working and everything, thinking you're going to be sending money back to DR, it's going to be harder than you thought.
right.
So you got to be careful with that decision too.
Yeah.
It's easier to go from the United States to DR than it is from DR
And
to
let me tell you guys, I gotta tell you this story because this brother, solid brother, man, solid brother. I've been and we became friends for my channel, and we reached out. Sometimes there's some brothers that I have reached out to me on WhatsApp, and we just made a good connection. So with this bro, and I just want to inform you guys that might may ever be faced with this kind of a situation. Now he married this Dominican chick, really in love with her, in love with the daughter. That's his daughter. But before he married her, his wife had died. You know what I'm saying? His wife passed on, and he married. When your spouse dies, you're left with Social Security benefits and so on and so on. So he after he married her, he informed Social Security that he got remarried. So now, not knowing, he's telling Social Security, he's like, "Oh, well, when did you get married?" And he's being honest about the day and all of that. Within, I think, a month or two later, he said his benefits from his wife was they took him away. They took his benefits away and told him, "You got to pay us now. You owe us like 50,000 from the day he got married to his new wife." So, for brothers that I'm talking about, the older cats, you know what I mean? That are, your wife, you might be a widower, you know what I'm saying? And you might decide that you want to get remarried or whatever. Keep that in mind, man. Because when he told me that, I knew exactly what he was. He said, I said, "Well, they took away your benefits." He said, "How did you know?" Because that's what the government do. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's best not to marry. Not to say that, marriage is a good thing, you know, but when it starts messing with your finances, bro,
So this was the United States, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. His wife died, and he was getting a nice lump sum. And once he got remarried, Social Security contacted him and told him, you owe us money. and took away, and he stopped receiving Social Security from his wife. His yeah. Yeah, a lot of people don't know that, Um, so sometimes it's best not to get remarried after your spouse dies. You know what I mean? Yeah, because he told me, he said, had I known that, Jay, I would have never married her. I would have got her over here some way somehow, work visa, something like that, but I wouldn't have done it. Yeah.
Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, see, that's why I'm informing you guys. Things like that we got to look out for. Let me read some of these comments. Kamal, let me see. Damn, are we sitting here talking? TF says this is good information from someone who experienced this. Of course, I think we can all learn from each other's experiences, and that way, we know how to navigate through this. You know what I'm saying? It's important. It really is. This is why I tell the viewers, man, it's so important for us to learn the language. The language, we gotta do better with. It's you want to invest in a country, you gotta learn the language, man. You got to.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm like 40% fluent. I took Spanish in college. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't finish, so I gotta. I know the basics, of Spanish. I took conversational Spanish, so I know enough to get by. I think the problem is with me here is that this is first generation Spanish, so they speak it like the Spanish that's being spoken in the United States is a different kind of Spanish. It's broken down. It's broken down Spanish that they speak in the States, and to whereas this Spanish here is first generation Spanish. So I'm saying this to say that like a person that's Puerto Rican or Dominican in our country, that's our age. Yeah, their grandmother probably came to the States, from Dominican Republic. Their mother probably grew up in the States. They learned Spanish from their mother. Now their mother's teaching their kids. So it's by the time it reaches to the kids, the shit is broken down. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So one of my approaches to actually the real estate situation in DR, I just signed a deal. Well, I just took. So this would be 12,000. So this is 1,200 square meters.
Uh
I
huh.
just took 1,200 square meters off the market in the island nearby.
Okay.
And so what I wanted to do with the land that you're promoting up there. This is a really big one. I forget what it is. It's a video you just did recently. Crap,
Uh
I
huh.
forget. But I was hoping that I made a comment too. I was hoping that they could take maybe 30% and then give me like a year to pay off the rest in
I
cash.
think you did. You know what? Oh, so that was you. Okay.
I was
Well,
wondering
you
if
know
I could
what,
do
bro?
that.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm transparent now. Let me tell you that particular piece of land might be a dub, and I'm gonna tell you why.
A dub? Really?
Yeah, man. It just so happens that the people that I'm advertising that land for, right, is I'm working with the female, with a female, she's an associate of mine, but they're related to the people from the car rental spot.
Okay.
So you know what that means, right? I mean, there would be this is what I'm saying. Like, I just don't get it because I'm just like, why would you fuck over or screw over somebody that's bringing business? You know what I'm saying? Why would you do that? You know, I just don't understand the mentality of some of these people, bro. Like, here it is. You know that I'm a YouTuber. You know that, anytime that, I'm renting a car, or, I'm bringing people from my channel to build your business, and this is what you want to do. You see what I'm saying? And, I haven't even told his sister the situation. I'm sure she knows. But, now it's like, damn, I got people that want to buy up there, but I don't know how this is gonna pan out tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? You know, because I got a few people that want to buy up there, man, and it's nice. It's a nice piece of property. And you know, one thing I will say too, I got one client, right? I took him up there. He's here till Saturday. And they were offering the land for $68 per square meter, you know. So I told the my associate and the owner, I'm like, listen, the man's coming with cash money. He's
Mm.
coming with cash. Give it to him for $60 per square meter, man. Give it to him for that. They not budging. They are not budging. You know, and I'm just like, I just don't get it. You really you rather take a what's $88,000 when you got a shitload of land? You know what I'm saying? What's $8,000? You only losing 8,000 and you getting 60 grand. But they don't want to, you know, and I had to show, you know, my viewer all the text messages that I'm going back and forth fighting, you know what I mean? Just so you know that I'm not pulling the okie doke, because that's the last thing I want people to think, bro. You know what I mean? I sent him all the text messages like, look, they got $60,000. Why can't you just give it to him for that price? I haven't heard back from him. The guy, he's leaving on Saturday, so I'm like, look, bro, I'm gonna do the best that I can do for you. This is one of the reasons why, like, I like to find land that I got full control over. You see what I'm saying? That
Mhm.
way I can do the negotiations myself. You see what I'm saying? Like the land that I bought, I got full control over that. You know, I got full control over that. So, you know, a person, I mean, yeah, they want $30 a square meter. If you're looking to buy, let's just say like 2,000 square meters or more, I can negotiate that for you. You know what I'm saying? I can definitely negotiate that for you. But if you're only looking to buy 500 to 1,000 square meters, 300, $30 is $30. You know, what more do you want? You see what I'm saying? But if
Mhm.
if you coming in trying to buy more than that, I'm like, look, you got to give them a fit. You got to do better than that. You know what I mean? The more you buy, the cheaper it should be. You see what I'm saying? And the dude he wanted 1,000 square. Initially, he wanted 1,600 square meters, and I told him I said, bro, I'm gonna be real with you. You don't need no more than 1,000. You know what I'm saying? You don't need no more than 1,000 square meters is sufficient enough. Because I asked him, I said, well, what are you trying to do with 1,600 square meters? He's like, oh, I want to build a house for myself. I'm like, then all you need is 1,000. You know, now if you want to buy 1,600, that's on you. You know what I mean? So he went with my advice, and that right there, he's like, Jay, I like your honesty. You know, I'm like, yeah, because even though I would make more money off the 1,600, but what more do you need that for? And I told him this. I said, you can if you decide to do the 1,600. Look, in this community, you keep the 1,000 for yourself, and that's 600. You hold that there. Once they start building up, bro, you go ahead and sell it. You know what I'm saying? And you'll make your money. You'll probably double your profit. You know, and that's what I tell people all the time. If you don't got the money to build, buy enough to whereas you can split the property, and then once you start seeing construction going up and people start buying in, you sell yours a little under what they're selling it for. You know, this country, this country, you can really capitalize on your money if you're smart, and know the ins and outs. Because the value of property goes up so quick. I've seen properties start at $40 per square meter. They went from 40 to 100, $125. You see what I'm saying? And I'm talking about within a year's time, bro. Within a
That's
year, yeah. So within a year or two, you will definitely see an appreciation in your property.
yeah,
You know?
and
Yeah.
that's why I got the deal on the table that I just took off the market recently because this is like maybe like a football field away from the beach. If I didn't take this deal, the land would probably go to like I don't know, maybe 1.2 million, and then I
Uh
would
huh.
be pissed that I missed out on it. And it's
Flex,
like
flex.
it's
No,
the
I'm
type of
sorry.
huh?
Huh? No, go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off.
It's the type of situation where you know what was I thinking? Like it's not much out there. It's
Uh
not a lot
huh.
of people out there. So I was torn between like being like one of the few people out there and having quick access to things that I'm used to. So
Okay.
this is another important thing about buying land. People need to consider: do you really see yourself being here cutting all this grass? Do you really see yourself planting and having the patience to grow it?
And that's
Do
bro,
you really
you
see,
so right.
yeah,
You so right.
the
I said
responsibilities, etc.
and it goes back to what I said. As we get older, less is more. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to, having these big extravagant properties and stuff like that. And honestly, who you gonna leave it to? You thinking about your kids? As we get older, we gotta live for ourselves because I was having this conversation with somebody, and I said, where I live in Brooklyn, it was this old lady. Her name was Miss Thomas. That lady owned two properties, man. She owned not a brownstone, but put it this way, her property was worth about almost $1 million, and then she owned the lot in back of the house that she bought, that she had for years. Bro, as soon as she died, her kids put that shit right up for sale. You know what I mean? They didn't waste no time. So that's why I said, we want to live for our kids, but our dreams is our dreams. You know what I'm saying? And we got to live for ourselves because there's no telling what our kids is going to do with what we have acquired throughout the years. We have acquired all of this for our kids to turn around and sell it,
Yeah,
and that's what my,
yeah,
my mom said to me. She said, if God forbid something happens to me, what are y'all going to do with the property? I said, Mom, you might as well do what you want to do with it. I said, because honestly, like I don't have no ties to this property. This is yours. I said it's probably gonna be sold. You know what I mean? Like I was straight up with her. I
yeah,
don't have no I don't plan on moving to Delaware. You know what I mean? I don't plan on moving there. So do what you want to do with it.
yeah.
you know?
And
Yeah.
another thing on this topic, right? This is important for the people as well. So I know some of the people in your audience are probably thinking to themselves, how can I buy land and protect myself as the owner? How do I own things and control? Well, how do I control things without or with anonymity, right? I don't want everyone to know that I own this land. I don't want everyone to know that this is my property, whatever, like that. Well, in Dominican Republic, there's something you can do, and there's something that they haven't really figured out yet. Here's what I mean. For your audience, if there's people who really want to remain anonymous and don't want people knowing any public record information about them owning land,
Uh
you can
huh.
start a business, create a trust in another country to own the business.
Uh.
Their documents in DR are going to show that the property is owned by the business.
Okay.
People
Yeah.
who look up the business are going to see that the business is owned by a
Owned it.
trust.
Yeah.
So for people in your audience who are interested, I want to own property, but I don't want people having me on public record owning the property.
Mm-hmm.
Create a business in DR. There's attorneys that can do that for you. It's not
Mm-hmm.
going to cost a fortune, but it's going to take a little time.
Right.
And then make sure you set up a trust out of the country because DR doesn't create trust yet. They're thinking about it. They're working on it. I've seen lawyers and real estate professionals talking with people in government about it on, I forget the name of the channel. That's a topic, right? In the
Uh
future, the
huh.
Dominican Republic is going to have trusts, but right
Mm.
now they don't have that as an official entity in the country yet.
Uh huh.
You can create a trust in another country, have that trust own your business in DR, and the business owns the property. There's your
Mm.
privacy right there. Nobody can dictate and tell you what to do because the leads back to you being in control.
Uh huh.
The strategy is like basically own nothing technically, but control it.
Right.
That protects you financially. That protects you from lawsuits
It
and things.
protects you from everything.
It protects
It's
you.
funny you say that because I've always said that to my viewers. When it comes to getting married in Dominican Republic, they go by they believe in common law. Yo, Jay, they be careful in Delaware. They believe in common law. They believe in common law marriage, So common law, you with a woman for 2 years, you're considered married, and she can come and pretty much take half of what you got. You know what I mean? And I always said, in order for you, in a way that you can protect yourself, is basically what you said. Opening up a business and having your business be the owner of the house. That way they can't come and take it. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Right.
yeah. So
It's
there's
going to cost
definitely
some money. It's going to cost money to set it up, but it's best
right,
because
but
it's the
it's worth
future.
it. It's a peace of mind.
Yeah.
Especially if you're looking to come out here and get married, nothing is guaranteed at all, so
And
you have to protect your investments at all costs.
and
um
mind you, like this is. I know people want to be in a real quick hurry to buy stuff, and oh, it's a deal, and I'm gonna miss it. Before you buy, set these perimeters up, set these preventative measures up. Is very important.
hmm
Super. It's going to be less expensive than fighting over it in case of a divorce in the future, for example.
hmm
Right? Like you said, they can't take it because it's not technically yours, but you're entitled to it, but it's not yours.
right.
But only you and who you choose to be entitled to it are entitled to it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And honestly, right, you should go into relationships based on love and having things in common and sharing the same vision and, having the same or similar morals and principles. But you never know, right? Things can take a turn for the worse. And you
hmm
can work, all of your hard work can go down the freaking drain because you got into that relationship ill prepared. There goes the
and
price.
who you think they're gonna side with, the local or the gringo? Let's be real.
It'll be
Let's
most
be
yeah.
real.
It'll be most
Yeah.
likely the local. And same thing in the United States. Who are
hmm
they going to side with? The woman, because you're the provider, and she's now adapted to that lifestyle. Many states will grant her alimony, child
hmm
support, and the property. You
Well,
guess who's going to be moving
the
out?
good thing that I like about here when it comes to child support, both parents are equally responsible for that child. So if the judge orders you to pay, let's just say $400, well, you're responsible for two, and she's responsible for two. And if she can't hold up her end of the bargain, give me my child. I'll take care of him. Cause you're not, you know what I'm saying? I'll take care of my child. So that's one advantage that men have. Or even women for that matter, that they have. If one spouse cannot afford to take care of a child, then the one that is able to and financially able to, that's the one that keeps the child. Yeah. Let me just read some more of these comments.
Yeah, I got a
Ben
response
Johnson
to
says, make sure you don't remove protected trees. Yeah, I'm aware of that. I'm aware there's certain trees that can't be removed. I'm well aware of that for sure. Flex Mundo. Oh, Flex got a lot to say. He says, "Don't ever say he's coming with cash." That's what they wanted me to tell a realtor to motivate them to sell the property to him. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only reason why I told him that. It was like, "Yo, tell him we got cash," because he really wants that property, and I want it for him. I really do. I would love for him to have it, but it's one of those situations where I can only do the best that I can. You know what I'm saying? And when I just want y'all to know that anybody that's coming through me to buy land, like I try as hard as I can to get you the best deal. You know what I'm saying? And it's different when you're working with when you're working with a an associate. You know what I'm saying? It's different, but when I got full control over property, I can maneuver things. Like for instance, the property for $30 per square meter, bro. I got a shitload of it. When I tell you a lot, it's a family that owns Today's Pontedeas, So um it's a good price. It's a good price and a great investment for anybody that's looking to invest up there. Let me see. Fleximundo says that's why you plan and organize yourself and make a plan for long run. Don't just jump. Most families that have that let me see. Most families that happen to them, I think it's because they don't introduce their kids to this plan at an early stage, at an early age, or educate them at an early age about investments, and et cetera, et cetera. And that's why it's important for us to empower our children, setting our children up for generational wealth. I think, I'm just gonna have to say it. When it comes to our race, we got to do better. We got to break those generational curses by, empowering our children, you know what I'm saying, and leaving something behind for them, passing on that generational wealth, and I'm like, yo, if I can't do it in the United States, I mean, it's sad because here it is, you make decent money, six figures, and you can't even buy a home where you live in the city you live in. That's the sad reality for a lot of us, and this is why a lot of us come here. I mean, I wish back in the '90s, the early '90s, that was a time to really capitalize on real estate in the United States. Because it was relatively inexpensive. But now we're in Brooklyn where I live, man. You can't find nothing under 500,000. You can't find nothing under 500,000, bro. And if
Yeah,
you do, your mortgage is going to be about $3,000, $4,000 a month. Who the hell wants to pay a $3,000, $4,000 mortgage in New York City? I don't think so.
and
Nah.
for Fleximundo, this is why I say that you should. One of the things you could do is see in response to what you're saying directly. Two things can be true at the same time. What you're saying is absolutely right, and that's a good point. But on the flip side, you can't really guarantee that your next generation or your grandchildren or their generation after them are going to stick with that vision, right? They could come
Right.
in and we want to do something completely different with this land. And, or like Jay said, they might want to sell it. That's again why if you create a company or a land trust to own the property and then create something like a business trust, for example, to own that, you can put it in the bylaws to say, look, this property has to stay in the family for X amount of generations.
Right.
Let the price go up, or let if you sell, the money has to be split for college, for whatever, for the next generation. You can set those bylaws in there, and they have to abide by that. So
Um.
if they don't fully keep your vision alive and what you taught them and everything, and they want to take a completely different direction, you at least have that there that they at least got to follow a few rules to exit out.
mhm. Derek Walker asks, how and where are you guys finding this available land? Um. I think I mentioned it to you. It's my builder's friends, family. This is how I managed to find that. And it's finding land. You gotta. It's not what you know, it's who you know. So that's basically how I found the land and how I'm able to get full control of it. And it's owned by put it this way, the father died. He died a couple of months ago and left all the land to his kids. You know what I'm saying? So each child has enough. And one of the land that I bought from one of the brothers, the other brother saw me bringing clients up there, and he said to me, he said, "Listen, when you're done doing business with my brother, I got some land I want to sell too." You know what I mean? Yeah. So this is how I'm able to find all of this land at a reasonable price. And I'm telling you now, I say it all the time, guys. Today's prices aren't tomorrow's prices in DR. Once people start buying into these properties, this land, prices will go up eventually. You know what I'm saying? So you get in now while you can. Oh yeah, and once you guys see the property, like I said, it's a lot of rubbish and trees and shit like that. But before you see these developments, what do you think the land looked like before they got developed? You know what I mean? Trees and woods, and you know what I'm saying? So these companies had to go in and excavate, the properties and the land and stuff like that to make it, to whereas they can start making doing the construction. So it's no different from the land that I have up there. Yeah, it'll cost you a couple of $100 to clean your lot, but we're talking about land at a reasonable price, and you can finance it over. You know what I mean? Over. I'm financing. I put down. Okay, the land costed me 19,500. I put down 16,000. Right, and I'm financing the rest over. I gave myself to December. to pay it off. But I'm gonna pay the rest of that off before December. I just told him December, so that's already in the contract. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So you have options. You have options.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure.
Well, another thing, because he asked, how do you find those deals? Um, Judging from previous conversations and presentations that I've been in DR with real estate companies and lawyers, you can also ask a lawyer to connect with the banks that have the financing already in place for certain properties and projects,
Uh-huh.
and they will give the lawyer a list of delinquencies, right? People who haven't been paying,
Mm-hmm.
and you could potentially slip right into a deal.
And
If you
not
try
just
to
that, also,
work it out.
what you call them, foreclosed properties too. If you're looking to buy a house, for those of you guys that's looking to buy homes, you can go to the bank and find out what foreclosed properties that they have, and you get these homes at a cheaper price, opposed to what's on the market now. You know what I'm saying? So that
Mhm.
is definitely an option. I wouldn't leave that out. Checking out the banks and seeing what homes that they have for sale. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe, guys.
Yo,
Yeah.
he got yo. This is some gems that you dropping gems, man. I'm telling you, this is valuable information, man. Hit the
But
like button. Yeah, man.
uh,
Oh
but
man, there was one more thing that you said. Uh,
let me
yeah,
see.
I don't. I'm not plugging. I'm not plugging none of these other people on your channel, but for sure, for sure. Oh, about that. Let it. I really want to get an update on the situation because I am interested in that land. But I'm straight up. If they doing you dirty and it's running in the family, nah, I'm good. Like I got wives and
Bro,
little
it's
families.
funny because I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah,
Now that I'm on this live, I got brothers hitting me up on my WhatsApp. Yo, Jay, I missed the beginning of your live. What's up with the property for $30 a square meter? Don't worry, guys. I'm gonna post the property on the channel. After I end this live, I'm gonna post a video. I'm gonna title it "Cheap Land for Sale" because the land is cheap. Okay, and that way you guys can see it. And then tomorrow when I go out with the Grimatory, I'm like, bro, money is starting. I've been here and that was another thing. Being here for a month, bro. Um, I'm like, okay, I gotta live like I'm a Dominican now. How much can I live off on a month? And I had a certain budget. Yeah, I went over my budget a little bit. I had a chef come in and cook for me a couple of times. You know what I'm saying? So, but not having not that for me, that's a luxury. That's one good thing about this country. You can come in and have somebody cook for you for $50. You know what I'm saying? Some of them be happy with 20. But I like to pay people what they worth. Shorty was in a little situation, so I had to come in and like, yo, you know what? Here. But um, living here on a monthly basis, I can tell you guys, I done spent about $800, and I've been here almost a month. Yeah. So and that's including food, entertainment and car. I got to drive. Gas is expensive in Dominican Republic. To fill up even a car that's economical, you're looking at 3,000, like $50, 50, $60 to fill
yeah,
up. You know what I mean? And it all depends on how much you drive. I'm driving a lot in Dominican Republic. I'm going to look at different properties. So that gas runs fast. You know what I'm saying? So you have to factor in all of that, when you're looking to make that move here. But I will say this: the quality of life and the cost of living is no comparison to what we pay in the United States. My apartment here, I'm paying $193 a month. Yeah, I'm in a Dominican neighborhood, but since I've been on this live, you haven't heard nobody but my builder come by, and you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's peaceful. They do play the music or whatever. That's part of the Dominican culture. I'm used to that shit. You know what I mean? I'm still gonna get my sleep regardless. And then the new music normally stops around I say 12, 10 o'clock on the weekdays. 10. Well, shit, it's almost a little after 10 now. I say 11. 11. Friday nights is a whole different story. It's a movie on my block. It really it's a damn I get a little frustrated sometimes because I gotta beat my horn only because somebody's got my driveway blocked in. They're blocking me from getting in, getting in, you know what I'm saying? But but other than that, man, I wouldn't trade it in for the world. I wouldn't. I love
I don't.
DR. I love the culture.
Yeah.
I love everything about it. And this is one of the reasons why I've been coming back since 2016. You know? Um, yeah,
It's a
yeah.
sacred place. I'm telling you. That's why I'm saying. Like I wanted to clarify earlier. We ain't just spazzing on DR. It's a sacred place that we love.
No, no. I one thing I'm not gonna do is sell my viewers a dream. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
give them
I'm
the
not
real.
gonna sell y'all
Yeah,
a dream. I'm gonna tell y'all the real, everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly. You know what I'm saying? Because everything is nothing's. If a person's selling you, like everything is peaches and cream, nah, you need to ring the alarm because nah, ain't nowhere peaches and cream. Every place is gonna have its shortcomings. You know what I'm saying? For sure. What's your contact details? Derek Walker, you can hit me up on WhatsApp 347-740-6350. Yeah, just hit me up on WhatsApp, bro. But yeah, man, I'm about to end this live. Is there anything that you want to tell the viewers or share with the viewers before we end this live? And yo, it was a pleasure having you on the channel, bro. Like,
appreciate it.
I know the name. I seen you following me for a while, so now I can
Yes,
put
sir.
the face with the name. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and make sure
Uh,
you write my number down too. That way you got my number, and we stay in contact on WhatsApp.
for sure. And I like it's like it's a great honor to talk to you. I respect you so much. I've watched your channel from when you had I don't know maybe like 200 something people, 100 something people.
Yo, so you seen the growth then? You seen the
Oh yeah,
growth?
absolutely.
Okay,
You've been through a lot.
okay.
You've been through a lot, man. You've been through a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, and look,
All your trials and errors. Yeah.
all of the followers I got, I didn't buy no followers. All my followers is organic. It's all organic. You know what I'm saying? People buy views and buy followers. Nah, I don't do none of that.
Yeah.
Everything, what you see is what you get. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. But yeah, it's just I appreciate this opportunity to talk to you, man. And yeah, man, I was supposed to be out there. I was trying to link up with you just uh actually while you were there during April, but I'll probably have to come through next month or something like that.
Okay. Well, once I get back home, y'all hear them Dominican cats out here fighting? They out here, they out here going crazy.
Oh, crap.
Hold up. Hold
That
up.
might be a
Damn.
quick little video
Damn.
too.
They out here. They out here. I mean, I hear them all night, man. They be sitting on my couch. I gotta get rid of this couch too, cause they be on my couch and shit. I don't like cat. I can tolerate them, but I don't like them on my furniture and stuff like that. But but yeah, bro. So yeah, is there anything else you want to share before we go out?
Nah, man, just keep DR a sacred place. Like any bad habits that people
And
are
leave
coming
it
at
right,
you.
right. Leave the American mentality home.
Yeah,
If you
leave
come
all
in
that.
here like a lot of us come here with a sense of entitlement. You know what I mean? Like and we're very bad at that. I always say you got to exercise patience. Even with my builder, he's a solid dude. I'm not gonna say he's not. He's a man of his word. What's that, Jake? That's my mom. He's a man of his word. But I told him, I said, bro, if we're gonna be business partners and friends, one thing I'm gonna tell you, I said you have to be on time. I said just like you know your people, I know my people. And when it comes to my people, when it comes to them spending their money, I said, bro, we don't like waiting when it comes to spending our money. That is a pet peeve for us. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
said I said, the American mentality is time is money and money is time. You can't waste people's time when they're spending their money, But you will lose your shit, when it comes to the lackadaisical mentality with some of the locals in terms of being on time. It frustrates me. it's still a pet peeve for me, but I'm learning to adjust slowly. to
Yeah,
say to say
that's
the
how it
least.
is in the islands. You know, where I got this land, on another island not too far away. Yeah, it's the
Mhm.
same. It's the same. So, yeah, I appreciate coming on here. I just wanted to give a little experience, and maybe it's useful to somebody. Hopefully.
Well, no, I
Yeah,
appreciate you too, and definitely got to do it again and have you back on the live. I just want to
for
say a
sure.
few shout outs. Shout out to Flex Mundo, Derek Walker, Clint, Cook, K Cook, Iasor Asa, Kama. I appreciate all you guys. Don't forget to hit the like, share, and subscribe. Y'all stay tuned for the video of the land, and I might go live up in where I got the new land at if I got some good service so that y'all can see it live and direct. All right. Appreciate the love and support always, guys. And until next time, y'all take care. Bro, you got my number, right?
I'm gonna go back and get it.
Okay, well, you got to go back to it's like two. We did, bro. I have never been on a live for 2 hours and 25 minutes ever,
Dropped a
ever.
lot of gems, man.
I only do 1 hour. I only do 1 hour, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
but it was a great live. I appreciate that, man. Until
appreciate
then,
it.
I'll be talking to y'all soon. All right,
Peace, man.
take care.